Welcome! From all of us here at the IELTS Focus, let's jump right in and boost that reading score. Today, we're cracking the code on a fascinating passage about right whales, breaking down the exact vocabulary you need to know.
Here's our plan. We're going to move through the text section by section, looking at description, storytelling, and data. This way, you'll really get how these words work in context, which is the secret to acing the reading test.
Okay, let's dive into the first section. We're focusing on the words used to describe these incredible animals and their pretty tough history.
Right off the bat, we get this amazing metaphor, sunken galleons. I mean, the author could have just said, the whales are really big. But no, they compare them to massive, old ships lost at the bottom of the sea. What a picture that paints.
And there it is in the sentence. See how much power that adds? It makes you think of something huge, ancient, and kind of mysterious. This is exactly the kind of descriptive language IELTS uses to test if you're understanding the feeling of the text, not just the facts.
All right, next up, cavernous maws. This one's pretty cool. Just think of the word cavern, a giant cave. Now picture that as a mouth.
So when the text says this, you get this instant, massive image in your head. It's not just a mouth, it's this huge, gaping entrance that's built to just let the ocean currents do all the work. Now, this next phrase, rendered into oil, is super important for understanding the history part of the passage. It basically explains the whole reason these whales were hunted so much.
The word rendered here is really specific. It's not just melted. It has this industrial, almost factory-like sound to it. It means to process the whale's blubber to create oil, which, back in the day, was like liquid gold.
And if you're wondering why they need those cavernous mouths, well, check out this number, 400,000 calories a day. And that's the minimum. It just puts their sheer size into a whole new perspective, doesn't it?
Okay, so now the passage switches gears a little. We go from general facts to the personal story of a specific whale, and the vocabulary shifts right along with it. So, how in the world do you tell one whale from another? It's not like they wear name tags. Well, they have something even cooler. A callosity pattern.
The best way to think of this is as the whale's fingerprint. Seriously, each pattern of these rough patches of skin is totally unique, which is how scientists can identify and track a single whale over its entire life. Pretty amazing.
Now for a really fun verb the author uses to describe the baby whale's behavior, cavorting. It's so much more energetic and descriptive than just saying playing, right?
And used in the sentence, it just perfectly captures that joyful, maybe even a little bit naughty energy of a young animal. You can just picture it leaping and dancing around. It makes total sense why they gave him that name.
Okay, pay attention here, because this is a classic idiom you are very likely to see on your test. Prospects looked grim. It's a really common and useful way to say that the future looks completely hopeless. And boom, here's the heartbreaking context. Calvin was an orphan, way too young. So its future, its prospects, looked grim. That single phrase tells you everything you need to know about how desperate the situation was.
In our final section, the story zooms back out. We move from Calvin's personal story to the much bigger dangers that the entire species faces, and the language gets a bit more serious and technical.
The passage lists out the main threats, and you should really notice the specific terms here. It's not getting hit by boats, it's ship strikes. It's not getting caught in nets, it's entanglement. Using that precise vocabulary is key. Here's another fantastic descriptive phrase, a hobbled journey. Think about how a person hobbles when they've hurt their foot. It's that exact idea, a slow, painful, difficult trip. It's not just a journey, it's a struggle. And we find out that Calvin's journey was hobbled. That one word is so powerful. It tells us she wasn't swimming freely. She was injured, impaired, fighting against the fishing gear she was trapped in. It really describes her suffering beautifully. Finally, the passage uses some hard data to drive its point home. And this chart makes it crystal clear. The birth rate was okay, and then it just falls off a cliff, down to just one single calf born in the year 2000. That's a terrifying drop, even if there are signs of recovery later on. All right, we have covered some absolutely brilliant vocabulary. So, let's pull all of those key phrases together onto one final review slide to really help you lock them in.
And here you have it, your study guide. These are the absolute must-know words and phrases from today. I would seriously recommend pausing here. Take a quick screenshot and make some flashcards.
And remember, don't just memorize the meaning. Try using them in your own sentences.
And that's our deep dive for today. Remember, the real secret to a high IELTS reading score isn't just knowing a long list of words. It's understanding how they're used to create meaning. Keep up the amazing work, and we'll see you in the next explainer.